welcome, welcome, welcome. Come in, come in, come in. This is Tamika's Den. I am Tamika. All right, y'all, get on in here, get on in here, get on in here. All right, get comfortable. So you guys, at this point, we are family, right? This is a safe space. We can talk, we can conversate. I got some questions, all right? This is Sistas, right? We know enough. Season 4, episode 15, y'all. Okay? And I need y'all to tell me why is Karen still telling us that she's come to the conclusion that she's not over Zach? Why? Why? Is Q and Calvin in Maurice's house still? Okay, yes, now Calvin has got added to that. Okay, it used to just be Q. But now they both need to get the heck up out of there. Okay? Why is Maurice not calling the police? Okay? Why is Danny and Preston still playing games? Why, oh why? Is Hayden not gone yet? These are the things I need to know. But let's go ahead and get into this episode, okay? So we started out this episode, you guys, with Zach beating Hayden's behind, okay? And a good and well-deserved behind kicking it was, all right? On the one hand, of course, I don't want Zach to go to jail, you know? But on the other hand, Hayden was begging for the behind kicking that he got, and he deserved it, okay? And so finally security came and was able to break them up. You know, Hayden trying to talk mess because of course this is what he wanted, and he's telling them to go ahead and take them away and, you know, call the police. You know, of course Fatima is saying, you know, Hayden and trying to stop him, trying to talk to him, you know, but Zach is saying he ain't scared, and he was like, you know, I ain't playing with you. And then he was like, well, you know, Fatima's in the same place you're going, to jail. And basically Zach was like, you gonna get what's coming to you. And he's like, is that a threat? And Zach is like, no, that's not a threat, that's a fact, okay? And if you get these rent-a-cops off my behind, you know what I'm saying, I would get on you. That's a promise. You don't scare me, you know what I'm saying? And it was funny because the whole time that Zach was beating on him, he ain't even try to fight back. That's, you know, how you know he just was waiting to be able to set him up. All he was doing was security. I ain't even know his mouth could get that loud, okay? And so, you know, Andy is trying to calm it down, you know, but of course, like I said, she's telling Hayden not to do this, and she's telling Zach to be cool. He's like, I am cool, don't worry about it, but I'm gonna get this, you know what, okay, when I get a chance, all right? And so he was saying how Fatima's always been a rock for him, and he's going to be a rock for her. And, you know, she's telling him that she's been handling it. And he's like, this is what you call handling it. So I'm like, yeah, Zach, okay, keep it a little low, because she has been trying to work on getting Fatima out. Fatima has had her back too. Okay, at the end of the day, what you want to do, go and try to fight Hayden herself? Like, she's handling it in a different way, okay? Not the way that you was trying to handle it, okay? But of course, he just keeps telling them that he's good over and over and over, even though we know he's not good. And so basically, by the time, you know, the police get there, we have Karen there, so she's seeing all the commotion going on because she shows up in the, you know what I'm saying, the office as all of this stuff is unfolding. And so, you know, Zach is still constantly trying to get at him, even after he claims that he's calm, and even before the police get there. And so, you know, Andy was asking him, is he happy now? And yes, Andy, of course he is. That goes without saying. We already know that this is what he wanted to do, set up Zach and have him go to jail. And of course, you know, I can't say he set up Fatima, because she did that one on her own this time. And so, you know, of course, they go ahead and take him away. And so, like I said, Karen showed up in the midst of all of this. And, you know, Andy is just like, look, I'm dealing with a lot right now. And she was like, yeah, I could see. She was like, well, I really need to talk to you. And then Andy is like, sure, come on in my office, you know what I'm saying? And we could talk there. And so, even as they taking him away, Hayden is still trying to talk mess, and Andy basically tells him to get out of her face. And so when Karen is asking, like, well, what the heck is going on here? What happened? She's like, a lot, and she was like, okay, well, I need to talk to you. And so when they get in the office, she basically was like, you know, you gonna tell me what's happening now? And she was like I said, there's a lot. She's like, are you sure that you want to know? And she's basically like, yeah. So of course she gives her the whole breakdown of the fact that Hayden is an asshole, okay, and that he basically set up Fatima and all that kind of stuff, had her arrested, and now Zach is being arrested because he came there looking for Fatima. And so she's just basically like, okay, and she's like, oh, that's all you gotta say? And she's like, yeah. And then she comes out and was like, I don't know who this child's father is, okay, I don't know who my baby father is. I slept with two men, you know what I'm saying, within close times, okay, and it could be either one of them. And so Andy is like, okay. And so she was like, are you hearing me? And she's like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, what do you want me to say? She's basically like, well, there's a chance that it could be Aaron's. And she was like, okay, well, Aaron is a good man. She was like, I know that, but I don't want a baby from him. I don't even know him. And I'm like, Karen, girl, I get it. I get it. That's actually one of the things that you've said in a while that logically makes sense. But at the same time, sis, you didn't know him when you slept with him without protection. You always know that there's a chance you can get pregnant, you could get diseases. There's a couple of things that can happen without protection, even besides a baby. So you didn't know him and you didn't think about that then. I'm just saying, that comes with the territory. And so she's like saying she don't know him well enough to have this baby with him or whatever the case may be. And she was like, all the stuff with his wife. She was like, I don't know him like how I know Zach. But yeah, you and Zach basically, even though you may know him, basically have a toxic relationship. So being able to get past that and not hold on to some of the things that we all know you've been holding on to, and actually be able to be good co-parents to your child, that would be just as much a task at this point as raising them with Aaron. I mean, I'm just saying, but I digress. Okay, moving on. Andy does tell her that these, we your sisters. We gonna have your back. All right, you don't need to sit here and worry about this right now. You have a great support system. It may be hard, but you got us. You're not in this alone. And we are gonna rock with you till the wheels fall off. You understand what I'm saying? And then Karen is like, yeah, you right. She also says, if Aaron is the father of the child, then he's a good man. I'm sure he'll step up and he'll take care of you, okay, even if y'all can't be together. And then she was like, well, maybe it's best that he is the father. And Andy was like, why you say that? And she was like, then I could cut all my ties with Zach. And she was like, yeah, you could. You know what I'm saying? That's one possibility. She was like, well, what if I don't want to? We back to that again, okay, because we talking about Cameron. She was like, what if I still want him? And Andy basically tells her, like, friend, you got to let this go. You gotta let it go, sis. Like, he's moved on. You gotta let this go. He's went on with his life and you need to go on with your life. Okay, so Andy was giving her very good advice as a friend and keeping it very real. And I appreciate that. And she was like, well, you're right, because he's here fighting and, you know what I'm saying, going to jail over Fatima and all this other stuff. And, Andy's like, I'm sorry you had to see that. And she was like, I feel like, this is Zach so well. She was like, but now, him with this money and confidence, you know what I'm saying? And she was like, that's all I ever wanted him to be. Well, sorry, Karen, I get it. And sometimes that happens. But at the same time, it didn't happen with you, boo. It didn't happen with you. You have no control over that, And so Andy does let her know that if anybody understands confusion, it's her, and it's okay. And so she was like, you talking about you and Gary and Andy was like, listen, we ain't gonna go there. And she was like, okay, good. Then I won't ask you, what I should do or whatever the case may be. And she was like, Dan, I'll just give you good advice. And she did. You know what I mean? She did. I don't know what else you could possibly say, because it seems like it goes in one ear and out the other when you talking to Karen anyway. But she tells her, if Aaron is so patient and understanding, what's the harm in giving it a try? And she just was like, I don't know, I don't know. And she was like, maybe you should go ahead and give him a call. She's telling her it's just hard or whatever the case may be. And so she says, I know it is. And then Karen says that she'll see as far as, her giving him a call, and that she just jumped in the car and was driving, and she just ended up here. And, I don't, she just wanted to, get her friend's advice and be there with her friend, I guess. And so she go ahead and leave, like I said, and claims that she's going to see whether she will call, Aaron or not. And so as soon as she leaves, Andy does pick up the phone and start to try to call Robin, because she going to need his help with getting Fatima out and getting Zach out of jail, okay? She leaves him a message telling him to hit her back up as soon as he can. And then we see Karen, I guess take Andy's advice and also call Aaron and tell him to meet her at her house, that she's leaving now to be there, because he asked her, when should he come, and she was basically like, right now. So she is going to go ahead and try to have some type of conversation with him, I'm guessing, to see what they can sort out of this whole mess. Is she going to tell him that she's still not sure and that is a very close call and there is a possibility that he's the father, because she never really came straight out and told him that from when they left the doctor's office? I don't know. Okay, but we shall see. And so from there, we got Bayo and Sabrina on the phone, and basically he wanted to let her know that he did drop those flowers off at the hospital. They was glad to have them. He's telling her he's going to send pictures of it, and she's like, okay, cool, that's great. She's like, well, send them to me in a minute, because I'm about to go ahead and get in my car and drive. I'm saying? I'm supposed to be meeting up with my girls tonight. And they going back and forth about, well, when is he going to get to spend time with her and where they're, we'll meet. He telling her to come to his house. She's saying, no, I think it would be better if you come to my house. He's talking about, a woman that's in charge. And she's like, no, just a woman being safe. And I'm like, y'all don't need to go to neither one of y'all houses. Y'all have only been on one date, or was it two? Y'all don't know each other that well. Y'all still getting to know each other. To me, that's a little too fast. You need to meet him outside somewhere in public. But, again, just my opinion. So he's telling her how, do you ever let anybody else, drive you around? That's something you shouldn't be having to drive yourself. And she's like, she likes to drive. I don't know. Okay. He seemed cool and everything. He ain't a bad looker, but honey, something else there is just giving me a bad vibe. I hope I'm wrong. Okay. I'm not trusting it fully. And Sabrina better do some checks and make sure, because everything that glitter ain't gold. Moving on along, we get to Danny. Danny gets a call from Preston. Preston pops up at her house for this box, even though he already went through all these, jumps and hoops and whatever to make sure that she was not going to be there when he was coming for the box, and that it was going to be left outside, and he was going to be there 11 o'clock in the morning, because he knew she left to go to work at 10. But now he's calling, talking about where's his box, that he's looking for it outside. And she's like, what are you doing here? What do you mean that you outside? Like, you wasn't supposed to be here. Why? And he's talking about something, I'm outside because I'm looking for my box. So she go ahead and open the door and let him in. And she's like, yeah, hi. And he's like, hey. And she's like, what are you doing here? And he's like, oh, I came to get my things. She's like, yeah, but that wasn't supposed to be until tomorrow morning. And he's like, oh, yeah, my bad. Did I? And she was like, okay, you're not a good liar. And he's basically like, I could have sworn I said today. Really, Preston? Now, you know how hard I go for you, but ain't no way you thought you said today. And so after she gave him the rundown of what he said, he was like, that's right. My bad. I'm sorry. I apologize. But he was like, I'm here now, so can I just get my things? And she was like, you and Zach could stop playing games. And he's like, what? And she was like, I know you talked to him. And he was like, we're friends. And she's like, all right, okay. But you really shouldn't be listening to the stuff that, he tells you. And then he's just still like, can I please get my things? And so she has the box already sitting there packed up and waiting. And he notices some shirt that he claims is not his. And she was like, well, I don't know whose it is. Okay, leave it there. And he's like, yeah, so, basically you be having guys' shirts that you don't know who they are. You got that many men coming here that you don't know who it is, something to that effect. And she basically was like, maybe, and he was like, I see. She was like, I'm glad you see. So he was like, okay, I'm going to go now. She was like, okay, well, you don't have to announce that you're going because you didn't announce that you was coming. And the door's in the same place or whatever the case may be, unless there's something else you want to say. So he says, actually, there is. And he puts the box down and is about to talk to her. But of course, Sabrina got a key. She don't knock. She walks right in, interrupts that. And they was like, really, that just came across as a pointless scene. Okay. She's like, oh, you guys are talking, hi, hey, girl. Hey, Preston, and he's basically like, hey. And so he takes that as his cue to leave. And she was like, yeah, he came to talk, but he just was about to leave. So, he walks out or whatever, and Sabrina's like, good to see you, and he's saying good to see you too to Sabrina. So, of course, Sabrina's just looking at freaking Danny dumbfounded, and she's like, oh, girl, you ready to go? And Danny's like, yep, I'm always ready to go or whatever. And so they basically were saying how it was only going to take 20 minutes to drive over, to Andy. So they was like, well, why don't we stop at the supermarket first, okay? And of course, she was telling Danny to bring her wallet, and Danny basically hurries up and runs out the door first, so that way she ain't got to bring her wallet. But I guess, to give them a little bit of time to talk before they get there, that was the whole purpose of them stopping by the grocery store, and it just was like, I'll fill you in, and you know what I mean? They basically could pick up some stuff before they go there. And so basically, we then had, who was the next one? I think it was Maurice, right? He comes home. And so when he gets home, you got freaking Calvin, talking about oh, well, he's okay with me. And after me hearing his story, I really think that we should let him stay here. And, Maurice is like, excuse me, you know what I mean? Like, well, do you want him? And I was like, Maurice, you wasn't saying enough for me, honey, because like I said, I would have been telling Calvin, this not even your house for you to be making the rules. He talking about, I think we can help him and we this, we that. I would have been like, you speak French now? Because this is not even your place. I'll let you stay here. Okay? And so at one point they started arguing back and forth because Maurice was like, oh, so you're willing to let a bank robber stay here now? And Calvin basically was like, oh, like you didn't know that he was, a meth addict and some type of thief or whatever before that. And then Q talking about, whoa, or hey, what I'm saying? Like, if that was too far with him going and saying that. And he was like, oh, I wasn't an addict. I just used to use it from time to time, a meth addict and a hustler. So he was like, what you damning for? What I'm saying? He basically was telling the truth. But like I said, he tries to insinuate that he only was doing it a couple times. So in the meantime, he say he gonna go wash the dishes, and Calvin is saying, yeah, you go do that. And he's like, well, I'm gonna leave y'all two alone. What I'm saying? I'm about to go out. So it's like, what's the point? Where's this going? He tells them that he gonna see them later. But then you have them Maurice turn around and be like, listen, I'm going to let you stay here because you have a situation going on. You in a bond right now. But let's be very clear, don't be talking to me or whatever the case may be. And you have to cook food every single night because you've been eating here and sleeping here for free. It has to be hot, what I'm saying? Because at first he was telling him that he's no help. He's not bringing nothing to the table or whatever the case may be. So he was like, if you think I'm supposed to feel sorry about the stuff you were saying about your mama, I don't care about that. And Q says supposedly that he wasn't trying to make him feel sorry for him. And he's like, mm-hmm. And then he says he don't want him here, okay? And that he's not Calvin or whatever the case may be. He's not falling for it. And he's basically, even though he has the body of a goddess, he's a cold-blooded bitch. I said, baby, not cold-blooded enough, okay? Because if you was, you would have been reporting to damn police, parole, or somebody saying, this man cannot stay here. He don't have my permission. He over here talking about some I hate your ass and all this stuff. Obviously not that much, Maurice. I'm sorry. If you talk a good game, but you're not putting the action in to back it up, okay? So at the end of the day, he agrees to stay in there and cooking every night. And I guess that's what they gonna do. That's how they gonna play it. And so when they basically end up back together. So then you had Aaron come and drop off Karen ice cream, you know. She's telling him to sit down. She wanted to talk, and she was like, you know, they really haven't known each other that long, and that's why she basically don't feel comfortable with having this baby with him. She do tell him that, and he's like, yeah, I could understand that. We really haven't known each other that long. That's true, but we're both good people. You know what I'm saying? And then that's when she says that basically she's come to this realization or conclusion, as if she's just realizing it, that she's not over Zach. And I'm like, Karen, all of us around the world that is watching this, or whoever may be watching this, and Aaron knew that you was not freaking over Zach. You just came to that conclusion, sis? Okay. And so basically she was like, you know, it's a lot of things, and, you know, everything that happened with the wife and all of that kind of stuff, that was a lot. And that was, okay, I will give her that. And so here he is still talking about he love her and all this other stuff. And she was like, why would you say that? And he was like, because I do. You know what I'm saying? And I will still be there for you. Excuse me. And I still will give you support. So she was like, well, we haven't known each other long enough to love each other. And she was like, he tells her she loves him too. And he was like, that's not a question. I know it. I can feel it. I can see it in your eyes, and I can see it in your heart. I said, Aaron, I don't know about all that either, but I do believe that she did say, I love you back to him before. So, you know, it is what it is. And so he's saying, you know it, and she's saying, I don't. And he was like, you don't. And she was like, no, honestly, I don't think I feel the same way for you that you feel for me. And so he was like, why? Because of Zach? And you know what I'm saying? She tells him no. And then he was like, well, hey, you know, I'm a catch. Anybody would be happy. And he was like, wow, I'm shocked to hear that, because I've never been seconds to anybody. So she's talking about something really. And then, you know, he's saying that he basically was joking and trying to make her laugh. So I'm like, okay, I ain't here to joke, but, you know, continue, I guess. And so basically they just go back and forth with that or whatever. And he was saying it's fair enough, you know. Aaron is Mr. Understanding no matter what the hell is getting thrown at him. And, you know, she starts to say that she is craving this daggone ice cream or whatever the case may be. And she gonna go ahead and have some of that. But then she's like, she also wants pickles, okay? And so she was like, that's weird, because I don't even eat pickles. And for whatever reason, he literally has to tell her, like, oh, that's not so weird. You know, you're pregnant. And then it's like, you know what? Yeah, I am pregnant. You know, 2 seconds pregnant. So she wants these pickles or whatever the case may be. And she about to send him on a daggone mission, okay, to go outside, because she want them now. And she's like, pickles with an S. And he was like, okay. So I could just see her using Aaron, having him be an Aaron boy, you know, him being good enough to get her whatever she need. But outside of that, pretty much her just still going after Zach. Is that what we doing? I don't know. But, you know, we shall see. Right? And so basically after that, you know, like I said, he went on his mission to go ahead and go get these pickles. I thought she was supposed to be meeting up with Andy and them too, but maybe I'm wrong about that. And so finally we get Robin back, and I'm like, yes, Robin, come on, sit your behind down, okay? Let's get into this discussion and what's been going on. And so first, of course, Andy is questioning him, you know, in reference to who he's talking to, if he's letting anybody know about them in the office. And he's like, nah, I don't get down like that. We don't have those type of conversations. I don't be having people in my business. Tell me who it is so I could have them fight. And she was like, well, not getting us into legal problems. And he was like, isn't that what we here for, okay? To handle legal problems. So she like, you right about that. So of course she tells him about Fatima, but she doesn't get the, you know, reaction that she was expecting. He actually starts smiling, and she was like, why are you smiling? He was like, because he's kind of a dick. I wouldn't have mind being here to see that butt kicking, okay? You know, so she was like, oh, okay, well, that's good to hear, because, you know, I really need you to get Fatima out, and I need to know that she's going to be okay. He says, no biggie, go ahead and wait for her now. She was like, you could do it that quick? He was like, yeah, I'm going to make that phone call, okay? But then she has to sit him back down, and I'm like, Andy, why are you procrastinating and dragging it all out? Like, tell him everything at one time, girl. And then she starts to tell him the Zach part, okay? That now Zach done had to come there and beat Hayden behind too. And he's like, well, does he have any type of charges? And she's like, yes, actually robbery and assault. He was like, damn, that's gonna be a little harder, okay. And he already was asking her what she was gonna do for him if he did this for her, when she just was asking about Fatima. She was like, oh, I didn't know this was a quid pro quo, okay. And so basically she was like, well, if you could help me out with this Zach thing too, then it's going to be 2 for 10. All right. And so he claimed he got the power. So I was like, okay, big boss, let's see what you could do. Okay, let's get it done. All right. I like to hear it because I want my girl Fatima out already. And so basically, they, seem like they going to be making plans like, she going to be paying up for Zach and Fatima getting out, okay? And so, you had Hayden and Gary, both of these raggedy fools, on the phone together. He's telling him how Robin is there. He's like, oh, well, what are they doing and what is he saying and what is he here for and all of that kind of stuff. And he doesn't really seem to know that much. So Gary's getting frustrated with him, and then he's getting frustrated with Gary because he's like, it's things you supposed to be looking into for me too. What information do you have for me? And so he like, I don't know exactly what's going on, but he's in there talking with them now. And he was like, maybe he's actually, getting something from the, what was he saying? From like the partners or some type of suit or something, because he was like, it's not making no sense. He had to have came back for Andy. He was like, Gary says that's going to be a problem. And he was like, yeah, well, I know his, practices in London, so his client, he must be spending his client's settlement money or something. And then Gary says, do you have any proof of this? He was like, no, but I could find out. He was like, yeah, we'll get all the information you can that'll be helpful or whatever. And he was like, helpful for what? And so Gary talking about, just give me everything you can. He giving him all this attitude. So Hayden is like, yeah, well, you got something for me or what? And so he tells him, you're not going to like it, okay? My boy Jake is legit. That's my boy. And he's telling me that Zach actually bought that stock, I'm saying, free and clear, the right way. Nothing about it is underhanded. And he was like, no way. He can't be a lucky man like that. And he was like, I'm telling you, that's all I found so far. So he was like, I don't believe he's that lucky. You should still have the SEC look into it. And he was like, Hayden, that this happens sometimes, and Jake knows his stuff, so I believe him. He was like, you serious? He was like, yeah. So he was like, damn. He was like, but I will have the SEC look into it anyway. And he was like, thank you, that's all I'm asking. So he was like, damn, you really can't stand this guy. And of course Hayden is like, yeah, I can't stand this. So I can't stand this asshole. So he was like, sometimes you get a little petty, but it's like the pot calling the kettle black, because they are literally two sides of the same coin. So basically, I'm saying, that was pretty much the end of that. So we did see finally at the end of the damn episode that Andy was waiting there for Fatima to come out. She come walking out, of course. She's thanking her, whatever, for getting her out. And she lets her know that Robin came through and made the call and that it's going to be fine. She should still be able to have her job. And she was like, good, thank you so much. And she was like, dang, Robin is a big boss like that, huh? Because she actually was able to, let her know that Robin was the one that made the call. And she was like, well, Zach got arrested, because, of course, Fatima, first thing she want to do is call him. She's like, what? I told you not to tell him. She like, no, girl, I didn't tell him. He came to the office, and, of course, Hayden told him, all right? And she's like, damn. She's like, yeah. So she was like, now he's arrested, too. And, Robin is trying to work on getting him up out of there, and we actually really need to know whether he's on probation or parole or any of that. And she was like, oh God, she was like, I don't know for sure. And so then she was basically saying that she wanted to go to the office for her phone. And so, Andy's like, well, you could use my phone. She was like, no, I need my phone, because, there's certain numbers in there and stuff like that that I need that I don't have on me. So she was like, okay, I'll tell you what, we could go, to the office and get your phone, and then we could come back here. So Fatima was like, okay, good, that works. For a minute there, I was getting kind of scared, because I thought Fatima was just making up the whole phone thing so she could just go back to the office and whip on Hayden Dambo and Han again. And I was like, no, girl, please don't be doing that. And so, they're saying how they hope that Robin can get him out. And what they finally decided to do, you know, Fatima had told her, hold up, wait, instead of them going to the office to look for the phone, she was like, do you think you could actually get me in to see Zach? And she was like, yeah, I probably could do that. And so she was like, give her a minute for her to go check. And so she was like, all right, yeah, let her go ahead and go in and see him first. That's more important than going back for the phone. So she sits out there and waits, you know what I'm saying, for Andy to go ahead and go in there and see what they could be able to work out into, okay, so she could speak to Zach before she leave anywhere, and I guess let him know that she's okay as well, all right, because Zach done put himself back in the hot seat when he really, really, really didn't need to. At least with Fatima, she don't have no other type of charges or record or anything like that, so she had told her to hold tight and relax or whatever the case may be, and went to see about that, and Fatima basically sat down. You know, we then get this scene with Sabrina and Danny in the damn supermarket, and they walking around, and Danny is telling Sabrina, like, these chicks been following us, you know, what's going on here? First, Sabrina's like, oh, no, they not, don't pay them no mind. Then she's talking about, oh, well, maybe they like my outfit. She like, girl, nobody like your damn outfit that much. So, of course, finally, Danny gonna stop and ask, like, why y'all following us around? What is going on? What do y'all want? And they basically was like, oh, we seen you, you know what I'm saying, your pic with Bayo. Can't believe that it's you. You know, they asking to take a picture with her or a picture of her and all this stuff. So Danny like, huh, what are you talking about? Because first Danny thought they wanted her. And she like, no, girl, nobody wants you. We talking about her. So when she looked, she like, girl. And they find out that Bayo is a prince. I thought they had knew that already, or maybe I read it somewhere. I don't know, but they found out he's a prince, or they like, wow, he really is a prince. Maybe they thought he was bull crapping on before. And so they had basically had a picture of them together back in his home. All right. And so now they got the verification that he is a prince. And that was basically the end of the episode, y'all. So, you know, put it in the comments. Let me know what you thinking, what you feeling. You liked it, you didn't like. Okay. You know how we do. All right. Let me know. Let's discuss it all. Okay. Give me a wave. Say, hey, let me know you came by. Put the fire emojis in the sky. Okay. And like, comment, share, subscribe if you are so inclined. Till next time, too.